Hello and welcome to the Bacon Bites. My name is Seth Bacon and this is Morning with Bacon and Business Apps. Hopefully you guys are all having a good time and hopefully everybody's staying warm out there in the Great Lakes area here in the US. It's been that polar vortex has been going on right now, and so very much hope anybody that's watching this, whether it's now or in the future, is able to stay warm and is able to stay out of harm's way. Anything that cold is can be very dangerous, so as everybody knows. So cool. So hopefully everybody's having a good day today. Excited for today's February 2nd. I can't believe it's already February 2nd. We have been doing this live stream kind of thing for about 2 months, just over 2 months now, starting on our third month. And it's been a lot of fun for me. And it's funny that I'm talking with my hands. And if you've listened to the CRM MVP podcast that came out this past week or so, you would understand why that's funny. So anyways, this is why you get a tight focused camera. If you haven't been with us before and this is your first time watching these videos, excited for you to join us, excited for you to see some of this content. If you're new to the Bacon Bites, this is just a place where new administrators can come, or people that are interested in Dynamics 365 or what Microsoft's doing sort of with that platform, and including also with PowerApps and stuff like that as well. So if you have questions or thoughts or something like that, put them down in the comments and we will get to those, and want to make sure that this is an interactive session. So if you guys have questions and you're live, if you're not live, go ahead and put it down in the comments section and we will make sure to add it to next week's. Just again, a place where people can come in, learn more about what Microsoft's doing. If you haven't, not myself, where this is the first time catching a stream and such, check out our channel. It's going to have more information about what the Bacon Bites is. And so with that, we'll go ahead and get in the live stream. A number of things that we want to do today and get through today. Ultimately, what I want to do is focus in on what was released yesterday. So the release that came out yesterday was with the Power Apps, well, not the Power Apps, the preview that Microsoft's doing. So if you haven't seen that or haven't checked that out, let's definitely make sure we go through that today. So what I'm doing is up on my other screen, pulling up some of the different people wanted to highlight really quick. And we'll highlight these two gentlemen. I'm trying to think if there's somebody else. So as you can tell, this is fairly relaxed, and there is a purpose and a point that we drive towards. But if you have questions, again, like I said, this is pretty free flowing. And so we'll go from there. So cool. So got a couple of people pulled up. What we do is we always start with highlighting the community. This is something that started out since our first live stream, and it kind of was some of the genesis is that somebody asked, who should I be following in and around this dynamic stack? And so it was something that there's a number of people I follow, probably 400 plus people. Some of them are organizations and stuff like that on Twitter, but very much appreciate some of these individuals I've been highlighting, and wanted to make sure I give them a shout out and highlight what they're doing. So the first one I wanted to highlight is TheMarkChristie. I haven't actually interacted with Mark or met Mark. I know that he's doing a lot of stuff with, I think it's the Dynamics guys, if I remember correctly. And so he actually just recently got his MVP award. And so congrats, TheMarkChristie. And so he was also presenting at Dynamics 365 Saturdays up in Scotland, in Glasgow, this past week. And so wanted to highlight him and just give him a shout out and congrats for the work that he's doing and contributing to the community. It's been neat sort of watching the UK base and just sort of take off and what they're doing, and all the different things that are coming out of the UK right now. It's incredible. I feel like they have a very strong community, and they have a lot of people that are either creating TDG, so those Dynamics guys. It's something that Jamie Barker from our RSM UK office is heavily involved in, just sort of in that realm over there as well. And so very much appreciate and excited to learn from the UK what they're doing. And they have a lot of different challenges that we don't necessarily have directly here in the US. And so it's been neat seeing how they deal with GDPR and how they deal with some of these different things when it comes to privacy. And so it's been very cool. So check out Mark Christie. He's got a couple of blogs and stuff like that. He's got that he's putting out there. And so very much appreciate and excited to continue to follow him. It was kind of somebody new that I'm starting to follow. He wasn't on my radar until about a month ago or so. And so excited to see where he goes and what takes off for him. So that's great. The other one I wanted to follow up on with the community is Mandar. This is somebody that is new-ish to the community. It's one of those individuals, and he's going to probably blush when I share this, and he's going to be like, what did you do? Why did you do that? Anyways, he is helping start the PowerApps user group here in Seattle. And so he's somebody that's been in, he's an end user. He uses Dynamics 365 on the back end with his company and is starting to use PowerApps and Flow and stuff like that. He's working with his brother to actually get out a podcast here shortly, hopefully. But anyways, he's somebody that's been around the product and somebody on Twitter that you can see how many people he's following. So he's got 185, and now he's going to start creating content and pushing stuff out there. And it's just a great example of somebody that's has learned a lot and is wanting to give back to the community. And so highly encourage people like this that have an interest and want to make that contribution and pay it forward. So appreciate Mandar. Thank you for your help with the PowerApps here in Seattle, and looking forward to a great chapter meeting, our first one on March 13th is what we're shooting for. So check out the PowerApps if you're here in Seattle. The other couple I wanted to call out on the community, and I'll just pull those up hopefully fairly quickly. CRM, UG, get the mic out of the way, .com/Seattle. It should, in theory, drop us on the Seattle one. Yep. And here we are in the Seattle chapter. And so this is the Seattle, Washington chapter, unlike Kylie's DC chapter. And so check it out. It's we have a meeting coming up on February 13th, which also the Washington DC chapter has a meeting on February 13th. And so check that out as well. So anyways, this is going to be an app in the day. And so we're going to going through the PowerApps, Common Data Service, flowing a little with Power BI as well. And so that's going to be hosted in Bellevue at the Microsoft Technology Center. So check that out. I very much appreciate what Audrey's doing. Audrey Forrest is somebody that's stepped in on the the Seattle, user group, and is really somebody that's making a difference. And so very much appreciate those that are sort of the unsung heroes, and it's people in the community that are helping those chapters continue on, and so providing that space. And it's one of those things where rarely are they the ones that are high visible. They're not becoming MVPs, but they're on a quarterly basis at least. They're creating content. They're helping the community. And it's kind of this groundswell that's hard to see. It doesn't necessarily get the visibility. So I appreciate what Audrey's doing. I appreciate what Mandar's doing in and around this product. And so very much want to give them a highlight and a shout out as part of that. Some of the other things that we wanted to just cover and talk about was just the fact that when it starts getting into, sorry, looks like the stream is having some issues, and so we'll see how that goes. So hopefully it's not too choppy. So I think the other thing that we often do is we cover the news, what's going on out here in the space, and wanted to highlight, what's the best way to do this? I'm going to close this one. I'm going to open this one. I'm going to bounce over to YouTube. And then I'm going to search for the CRM MVP podcast. CRM MVP. And what I wanted to highlight is Gus Gonzalez. And so I feel like he's stealing a play out of my book.
Hi, I'm Gus
I'm going to go ahead and mute that. Sorry about that. That's
Gonzalez.
I can't find a good stopping point right now. Anyway, so what Gus is doing, he's going through and just giving the news of what's come out recently, and so what happened this past month. And so he's given a quick summary of what's going on, and so that's where we go ahead and see. I'll have to reach out to him and let him know to drop some links in here, so that way people can get to the different content that he's talking about. But anyways, it's a great place to see what's a summary of the news that has come out. And some of the news that has come out, again, is the April 2019 release. And we touched on that last week, and he's going through here and just talking about licensing, so, also the training that's coming out and it's free. I forget which one this is. But anyways, check that out. I'll put a link into the description below, so that way you guys can see it. And from there, I think that's about it. And so here he's talking about Flow. Now Flow is now going to become the standard for the workflow engine in Microsoft. And so it's something that we talked about probably back in December or so, is that Microsoft has been pushing people towards Microsoft Flow, and that's going to be the new process engine, or the automation engine when it comes to Dynamics 365. And so definitely check that out. It's something that I think many people aren't aware of, is that's coming with that. So so that's a quick update on the news. If you want a summary of what's happening in Dynamics over the last month of January 2019, check out this link, which is in the description below. The other thing I wanted to, I don't know, I've gone back and forth, and I feel like I need to reach out to Gus on this. Logan and so Wolverine and Deadpool, Ryan, I think it's Ryan Reynolds, recently ended their 10-year feud, or however long the feud it was, and stuff like that. And so it was just fun, and just watching sort of those two characters go at each other and stuff like that. And so what I thought about doing, and I'll have to reach out to Gus, and this is kind of a behind the scenes and kind of thing, but would be disagreeing with everything Gus says going forward and taking the opposing position. So if he says that unmanaged solutions are the best, I'm just going to pick managed solutions and argue vehemently the other direction. Or if he says this is the best practice, I'm going to say, actually, that's the worst practice, and this is what you should be doing. So anyways, we'll see. It was something I was dabbling with today while I was preparing for this. So anyways, Gus, I'll reach out to you. I don't want this to become a surprise. And I think, I don't know, you hear people do this all the time to gain viewers and stuff like that. And that's not what I'm doing. I just think Gus is a fun personality, and I think there could be a lot of fun with the banter going back and forth between that. So one of the things that I'm going to disagree with Gus right now on is the use of your hands. So with your hands, you should have lots of movement. You should be able to articulate, and your hands should be describing what you're talking about. So if you're talking about something that is square, then you should be able to do that. Or if it's circular, you should be able to do that as well. So anyways, if you missed Gus's last podcast, and this is what I'm referring to, CRM MVP podcast, I should just keep this on a quick thing. But anyways, Gus talks on his last ones about best training practices and such. And so anyways, about not even halfway through, this is a long listen, but anyways, about in here, about an hour and a half or so, he's talking about presenting and what does it mean as far as movement goes and stuff like that. And so he calls me out, and that I use my hands too much when I talk. So and then he gives me props for not doing it on this show, and I think it's because the camera's tighter and my hands are typically on the keyboard or the mouse. So anyways, if you are a presenter, if it's something that you guys are looking to do, present at conferences, present even internal meeting information, if you lead any types of meetings, I highly recommend this article and this podcast. He's going through a book that he went through a couple of years ago in 2006. Yeah, and so he's just going through that. So anyways, check it out. But that's all I'm going to do for the news. I don't think there's a whole lot else that we want to cover today. With that, if you guys have questions, feel free to drop it in. Let me know what your thoughts are with regards to Gus and the potential feud coming between Gus and myself. So I don't think it's going to be a big deal, and hopefully he doesn't take it seriously. And I will reach out to him before we do it. So you heard it here first. I'm going to go ahead and close that. Cool. So I think we get into content. I think there's I don't know if there's a need to belabor the point anymore. If you guys have comments or questions, again, drop them down in the comment section below. Okay. With that, we'll go ahead and get into the actual content for today. And so the actual content for today, I guess I should have pulled up this April 2019 Dynamics release notes. This is an article that came out 2 weeks ago? Last week? Was it only last week? The 21st? Yeah, I guess last Monday. Anyways, Mo is just highlighting the different things that are coming out, the Power Platform. And if you look at the release notes, key dates is what I meant to click. I think it goes both directions. They both end up there. Okay, kind of the same-ish. So the preview is now available. And so I want to go through the preview and show people how to turn it on. It took me a little while yesterday to figure out how to turn it on. Again, just some updates on dates. So release notes came out the 21st. Perfect timing. They were on time with that. I don't think they updated this after the fact. The preview is available as of February 1st, so yesterday. And so that's why it's brand new. Release notes will be updated. So updates with, again, they're coming out with a bunch of different stuff. And so as things need to be updated, that's going to be a part of it. And then there's going to be a launch event, which is going to be neat to watch and see a number of people attending that and seeing that. And then general availability being the 5th, coming out of preview. The other thing that I think, before we get into the actual content and how it gets updated, let me see if I can go to the history. I think this is the one. Yes, this is the one. So the other article that I'm going to put in here, and this is how I actually figured out how to turn it on, and so that's the other reason I'm going to put it down in there, is how will the 2019 features be enabled for customers who didn't opt into the preview? And I think this is important, is what happens if I don't do the preview and it still comes out. And I think that's where I get a little nervous because people, I'm going to zoom in so that way you guys can hopefully read this a little better. I know my wife is giving me a hard time that the text is too small and that people can't read it. So hopefully this is better. But what we're looking at here is for people that don't enable the preview now, that haven't watched this and don't realize it's even coming, is Microsoft is going to the sort of everybody's on the same version. I mean, it's not even kind of sort of. They are going to a model where everybody's on the same version. And that's kind of, it's got good things and bad things, as with everything. And so it's a change in the model for those that have been online since 14 or 13. I think 2013 was the first one. Maybe, I don't think 2011 was. Somebody comment down below if you remember what version that was. But that was something that ever since then they've allowed customers to push it, to push like the updates and when it's going to come. And it was something that even in the test, they'd say, how many versions behind can you be on the configuration exam, or the online deployment, I guess is the one it was in. But the online deployment one would talk about that. And the reason it would talk about that is because it was something that you could only be you have to be on the last major version, essentially. So you could be, they were releasing it twice a year. And so you could be on the current version. If they had an upgrade, you didn't have to go to that one, but you'd have to go to the next one. And so that was something that people had some time. They could do it in a cadence. They could do it every year. Now with Microsoft doing these updates every 6 months, it's going to be pushed out for them. And it's interesting the way that they talk about this update will be like the minor service update experience we're delivering today, so it doesn't require any downtime to perform the update, which is good. I'm glad that they're able to figure that out. But it's that concept of, okay, we're gonna like slowly turn things on as part of an update. So it'll be very interesting to see that. It'll be interesting to see the reaction for the people. I'll be interested in the user group meeting in May. I think we have one scheduled for May and August. So for those ones, people will be they'll have had the updates pushed on them if they're not part of it. And the way they're rolling it out, just kind of coming full circle, it's the day your region will be scheduled to have the features turned on. So again, they're going to be publishing specific schedules for the April 2019 features will be enabled for each region. So when's the North America region going to be turned on? When's the EMEA server is going to be turned on and changed over? So be aware of that. This is why I highly encourage people to look at what's coming out in the 2019 items. I don't think there's anything that I've come across or seen or heard that's going to break. You think of like JavaScript and stuff like that. But this is the other thing that this does, and this kind of dovetails into everything that Microsoft's been saying, is managed solutions. And I know there's a whole discussion around managed solutions, but that concept of what does it look like when we start getting into there's been people that have been, and this is kind of the big thing, is that there's been partners out there, there's been environments out there that will do things that are not supported. And so Microsoft says not only are we have a set of best practices, and so we recommend you following these, but there are things that you're not supposed to do. And you're not. They say this is unsupported. So if you do this, and we make an update, it's not on Microsoft because of that, because it's an unsupported change. So it'll be very interesting, and this is why they also came out with the code checker as well. So it's kind of a two-parter there. But with the code checker as well, it allows you to run that on a continuous basis per solution before you put it in there, just to validate that your code is good and that what you're putting in there is currently supported. And so that's just another great example of how Microsoft has sort of these like 3 or 4 different things coming together. And this is ultimately to be able to do stuff like this. And so as opposed to having people schedule it, and the schedule's going to be the middle of the month, or it's going to be pick your weekend type of thing. Having a lot of state and local government clients that are in the government cloud, it'll be interesting. I haven't seen anything called out currently that their experience will be different, though I anticipate that it is, because a lot of the previews and a lot of that kind of stuff doesn't make it into the government cloud. So anyways, sorry about the little the noise with my hands and stuff, so I'll try to keep my hands down, and that's goes back to what Gus was saying. So anyways, links for these down in the description below. Again, release notes, we've touched on this, we went through this last week. If you have questions on that, check out last week's video around what's coming. So I'm going to go ahead and drop these into this other one. This is how I remind myself to okay, anyways, I won't spend too much time on this. So I remind myself to get back to it and make sure it gets in the show notes before we move on to the next thing. So cool. If you guys have questions, again, drop them down. I don't know if anybody's joining us this morning, which is fine. So drop down comments in the section below if you have any comments or questions around that. The other thing I would ask you to do is hit the thumbs up if you're enjoying the content. Let us know that we're going the right path. If you had feedback and opportunities for improvement, comment, reach out, and you kind of see the scroll going through there. So want to make sure that this is beneficial both for myself as well as for y'all. So if you feel like we need more people, more interaction, more things going on, more sound bites or something like that, we can certainly throw that in there and make this fun and interactive. So cool. With that, let's go ahead and jump into I want to turn on the previews. I want to show you how to do that. That's one thing. And the other thing I wanted to do was start to go through these different tabs. So I got like 5 tabs open already. And just wanted to highlight sort of what's going on. So it's super duper confusing right now, at least for myself. So here we have the portal.office.com. If you click in there and go to your admin center, I'm going to close that first one. This is the admin center. This is your Office 365 admin. When you start looking at admin centers, and so these are a number of different specific centers for each of the different areas. And so we have, I'll go ahead and pop that one open so you can see where this is going. I'm going to leave that one open for now. Yeah, so this was the common one if you're on Office 365 or Dynamics 365 in the cloud. You're used to seeing this one. There is a new preview one, and so you can there's a better way to manage your instances, and so we can try the new admin center. Note that this is in preview. I think that one's the same as this. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and close that. So that's how you get to this spot. So I'm going to open that other one back up, just that way we have a couple of examples. If you click on PowerApps, so again, I was in the admin center, clicked on PowerApps. What you notice is that we now have admin.powerapps.com. And that kind of looks like this one, which is admin.powerplatform.microsoft.com. And so you see that there's differences, but you see how closely and similar they are. And so I can see the different environments. And in here, I can see security and resources and stuff like that for this instance. And you can manage your settings in the Dynamics 365 Admin Center, which takes us back to this. So you see how that's kind of like circular and kind of confusing. I can see, again, this Power Apps area isn't even where I create a Power App. I can manage and create new environments, which is interesting because I can't do that. This is Power Platform. I can't do that here. I can't create a new environment. And so if I wanted to create a new environment, I just click here and do the environment name and whether it's a trial or a production. But that's going to create a new instance of I think that's CDM, Common Data Model, is what it creates. Creates new environments for apps and flow development and to maintain separate databases. And so you can learn some more on that. And so, but anyway, so that's interesting, right? So I can do certain things here. I can create new environments. I can look at my data policies, integrations, and such, but it's not something, even licenses. This is kind of cool. You can download who has licenses for that areas, which is kind of cool. How many flows are running. So again, cool. It's not a lot of information, but it kind of shows you a couple of things. One is on security, you can do, so you can add users and assign security roles. Is this going in and assigning people? Interesting. I haven't played around with this a lot, but then you can also see the resources, the flows, the apps that are installed or associated with that environment. So I don't know. It's interesting. Just how and why there's that one. So anyways, that's the Power Apps one. Which is the same one as that. So I'm going to close that. And I think I'm going to go ahead and that's the same one as that. Admin Power Platform. Yeah. So that's the same thing. And then you also have the flow. And this is where again, it's kind of a subset of what you can do. And so here's my flow, my tenants. I mean, again, it's very similar to what we just saw in Power Apps, which is interesting. But I don't know why this one's different than the other one, or how it's different. So it's kind of, I'm still trying to figure out why they're different and why they don't have them in the same one. And maybe that's because I don't have enough people or whatever. So anyways, a couple of different things there. And then the other one is the fact that we have, so going back, how do we turn this on? So we've gotten that part. Awesome. Again, we can access those different places and that's going to pop us out to the ones we were just at. So again, the different areas, which is interesting. But to get to the final where we were going, in order to turn it on, you actually have to click on the environment itself. If you click on the environment, it'll take you here to information about the environment and to do the update. You have updates here on the right, and click manage. You can go ahead and click activate. Updating is permanent. I think this is a question I had last time, is can you roll these back? And updating it is permanent. So once you do it, you go. For stability, do it in sandbox or trial environment first and see what it does, and then what the updates are. So that was something that when they talk about it, how do you roll it back? And I think I still have that tab open, but they talk about it, I think here, copy of production, no, create a copy of the production and then do it. I thought there was somewhere where it's like, so found an issue on your sandbox, report to Microsoft, open ticket. But to roll it back, I thought they had a description on that. So to get it back, and essentially you just create a new environment and then redo it. The other thing that'll be interesting is, can you move a solution from one environment to another as part of that? So anyways, let's go ahead and activate it. This will turn on new platform app experience, which can't be undone. For stability, we recommend doing sandbox. And this is them checking, are you sure you really meant to do this? And in order to do that, we need to take and type Contoso in there and then confirm. So this is going to submit our environment for the new update. And so that's what it's going through and doing now, is activating that. So I'm going to bounce open and open another one while that's going through. I think you can close it. Yeah, see, just like that, it's already active and done, which is just crazy how fast that's done now. Because you used to have, like, it'd be down for a little bit. I mean, not even be down for a while, but it wouldn't be like super crazy, but it would be down for a bit. So, but it's quick. So the other thing that I was struggling with was, how do you get there? And if you click on settings, it doesn't take you where we just were. It takes you to like the system settings. And this is something that we looked at probably in December, maybe early January. Maybe it was December, but just going through all the different settings and stuff. You look at features and what features you can turn on and all that kind of stuff. You can tell which ones are going to bounce you out because of the little arrow box. And so that was a good job by Microsoft to highlight that. But anyway, so we won't go through any of these, but that was something that took me embarrassingly long to figure out how to get to that other environment. So again, if we go back to our environments, you need to click on the name of the environment to get there. So check that out. We've gone ahead and upgraded both of these. I probably should create another environment so that way I can see if we can move and manage solutions as part of that. So cool. I think that was that. What was the other thing I wanted to do? Find more apps, consulting services. No. So that was how to update it. I think the other question is, let's get in there and play around with it a little. So I'm going to go ahead and open custom apps and Contoso. And while that pulls up, if you guys have questions, again, I don't know if there's anybody currently watching this live, maybe. Feel free to drop a comment down there if there's something you want to see. This is taking incredibly forever. Let's see if we can go this way. If there's something you want us to focus on, if there's something in the new release that you thought would be interesting, again, more than happy to dive into that. So it looks like these environments are taking just a minute after we've loaded it that first time. Let's see if we can bounce over to the preview one. While these are loading, I got into this one yesterday. Yes, there it goes. See if this goes. The other thing we often do is drag it to the other screen, and all of a sudden it goes, right? Also be curious on if those that are watching this, what your thoughts are. With the live stream, it's not necessarily super structured, going off of a script, obviously. I don't know how many people are doing this kind of stuff out there. I think there's a few people that do it with code. Wow, lots of pop-ups. I'm gonna mute my thing so it doesn't type too much. That was interesting. Reminder that inside view is no longer going to be supported. But anyways, I don't know how many people are doing this kind of stuff and going through it. And so if you guys find it helpful and beneficial, let us know. And we will certainly keep at it. I do have about 2, at least, short videos that I need to record at some point. So, and get those edited and uploaded. So hopefully we'll be working on that soon. So one of them is what happens if my apps disappears. And so there's actually a blog article out there that I have coming that's going to highlight that. So I think recording a bacon bite and really make it less than 8 minutes would be good as well. So yeah, this was the other one I thought was interesting. I don't know why it had me sign in, all these things. No, it's just creating a new app. Okay. Anyways, so what did we want to see? What did we look at last week that we thought was interesting? So I'm going to pull up the release notes again. Where, of course, it's already gone. So things we looked at with the PowerApps, improved capabilities for App Maker. So we got some general availability coming, public preview in February right now. Can we start using these? I think so, because these are all coming. More quickly build new system views, some notable new features with the view designer include the ability to add fields to the entity directly within the view designer. Oh, interesting. Drag in new columns from the field drawer, add advanced filtering. Okay, cool. Let's do that. We'll start there. So, which app should we pick on? I don't think we created an app yet. Let's create our own app. Cool. Description, yada yada. I think that's good. Icon, default one. Do we have an option not to use it? Yeah, there you go. And we could pick, these are all web resources in there. So we'll just leave that for now. And what I want to do is check out let's go ahead and edit the sitemap real quick. Add the account contact. Maybe just, yeah, see how long this takes. The other thing that I've heard people say is the first time things load, it takes a little longer, but after you make that first one, then it goes a lot quicker. So what's the account? It's an entity. I don't know why that it like blocks out fields and stuff. Add a new sub area, another entity, and we're gonna make this the contact. Drop that in there. And the other one I wanted to add, and this is something I've seen people forget to do, is add an actual dashboard as part of it. So I'll just use the sales dashboard as the default one for now. Cool. Bada bing, bada boom. Save it. Close it. Goes ahead and drops things in. And so what we're hoping to see is on these views, if we create a new view, we haven't saved anything. Okay, let's save it. Bounce out to the new view. If I wanted to do column attributes, so the account number as part of it, double click on it, account type. It's not very helpful. Looks like there's no data. And this is something, if you haven't seen the new views in App Designer, check them out. This is something that's super cool right now, is that the fact is that you can change all this stuff. Can you change it like 175? No, okay. You can do this and you can see live data coming back, I think is the biggest thing. You can do filter criteria, add that up top. There's videos out there on all this stuff. But just this makes it so much easier to do this kind of stuff. Components. I'm not seeing the new, maybe because we're not in the right area. I'm not seeing the ability add field to the entity directly from the view designer. So we should have column attributes. We should have an option here, and I don't see it yet, but like where could I add a new one? Account rating. Like if I wanted to add a new field. City. Cool. But I don't see that option, which is kind of crazy. Let's look for the primary contact as well. But you can see just how quickly this goes, and especially since you can see the data and know that, hey, I actually need to extend that out because some of this data is longer. I love this kind of stuff. My accounts. Actually, it's not my accounts, so let's save it and then go add a filter on it. So the owner equals the current user. And now let's save it. Cool. So save and close. We see the view. We see my accounts that we just created. And you see all the other ones. And again, if you haven't seen these before, it's pretty cool because you can unselect them and you can select specific views. So if I just wanted that one view of my accounts. So again, active accounts is something else, but that doesn't matter. We're just trying to test out some of these preview features. So I don't see that here. Validate it. What do we got warnings for? Oh, since I didn't pick one specific one. Okay, yes, I understand that I have to have one. And because I didn't pick one specific one. Oh, active, all contacts. Sure, we'll do that. Now if we validate it, should... Dependencies, I got 8 dependencies. What's going on? Anyways, I think it's got a bunch of subgrids probably on that account or that record. Let's see where that is. Where's Bacon? Do I need to refresh this? Yeah, let's refresh it. Should be... Oh, it's morning. Sorry. There it is. I don't want to open an app designer. We're already done with that. So it's going to go ahead and open that app that we just created. Take it a second, it looks like. While that's going, the other thing I wanted to check out was creating the app in the actual app viewer. Where? App designer. You can play it and preview it. Where's the new app designer? Is it in PowerApps? So where's the PowerApps? PowerApps.com, sign in. Oh, this is the other one that's super confusing. So this is web.powerapps.com. And this is where you actually see your apps if you were to create them. So see how that's like a fourth place or a third place? And it's like, what? Guys, come on, you guys are killing me. Let's change it to, we're in the Katoso one. So this is cool because it brings over that app that we had. And so we can bring over, that's opening the app itself. I didn't want to do that. I actually wanted to edit the app. So does this give us a different experience is the question. I'm not seeing this give us a different experience. This looks like the same one. What happens if I go to entities? No response received. That's weird. Why aren't you loading in here? Wonder if it's got hung up somewhere else. Anyways, what we're trying to do is, can we view? So again, this is we're configuring the tables. And again, this is essentially the default solution. So be very careful and mindful of that as you're going through this. So let's check out the view. It's model driven. I can add a view. If we just open that, interesting that, oh, because we're in the other environment. Yeah. So this is the preview one. My amazing app view, because it is fantastic. Okay. So this is part of the preview. Oh, look at this. It's the whole new layout. Okay. So, so on Wednesday, I'm supposed to do a training for new administrators. And you know how hard it is to teach right now? Because of all this stuff? Where do you go? Like, do you use this one? Do you use the other one? Do you use the solution, like the old school one? But there is 3 different ways right now to create and update views. Do you feel my pain? Like, do you understand? Like, he does. He understands. He wants to get away from here. But do you like, how do you teach? I mean, and I haven't taken the new exams that, came out last week or this week. And so I haven't gone through that. I think Neil, I forget Neil's last name, out of the UK. Anyways, Nick and Neil were working on maybe doing a study group, and Neil's got some great stuff when it comes out to the training and stuff for these new exams. But how do you do this? Like, where do you go? But that's why I do what I do, because I get to figure it out and I get to have fun doing it. So anyways, let's get back at it. So what we wanted to do is we can add new columns. So again, if we wanted to add the account column, the rating column, or the primary contact, you can add that. I don't need that one, so remove it. Can you add that same column twice? Question mark. Okay, come on, fingers. So you can't add it twice. All custom. That's kind of cool. To be able to do that filtering, I like that. We're related entities. That's cool. I can dig it. What? This just blew my mind. So you know what I'm not doing right here is putting in a specific size. I am like that's maybe it like locked in at a specific size. Can you really do that far? Can I bring that back somehow? Huh. Okay. The other thing, oh, didn't mean to do that. Save as. Cool, cool. Interesting that it like came back all that way. Sort ascending, sort. So there's only one sort. Do what? This just blew my mind. Contains value. Can I do this? Filter by equals default value. Oh, there's only one value in there. But you could, and so you're doing the filter in line here on which column as opposed to doing the filter in another place. So here's my sorts, and then by account name, and then by primary contact. Nice. That's 3 different things. And then I'm out of things you can sort by. Sort by city too. And so, oh, are you kidding? Fantastic. Way to go. Add row. City equals Seattle. There's nothing that equals Seattle. Okay. Good to know. I can either add the filter here. Dallas, I think, was in there. And so that comes through. And you see it down here. I like this a lot. Well done, product team. Well done. You just click on it and it works. What a concept. Can I... area of improvement. Click and drag. Can I drag that? If I could drag that up, that would just be next level. One area for improvement product team right there. Everything else has been amazing. Sort Z to A. Why would you do Z to A? Isn't that... I feel like these arrows are backwards. So somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, I think these arrows are the wrong direction. Drop a comment down below if you think these arrows are right or not. I feel like pointing up, I guess that's ascending. I see what you're doing there. I just feel like it's wrong. Okay, I'm going to save that. I still have yet to see where I can create a new field. Deprecated processes. These are a bunch of the different fields. View. Oh, no, never mind. Got super duper excited. You could see that. Add fields to the entity directly from the view designer. That is what it says. That is not what I'm seeing. In the PowerApps, publish. You can drag a new field. This is where I don't feel like I'm using the new... Oh, I'm still publishing, sorry. So a couple of things that I'm just reading through here. So add a new field. You can't seem to be able to do that. Drag in a new column from the field drawer. So that was what we're seeing on the left-hand side. Add advanced filtering in the property pane. I think that's what this is. So advanced filtering, that's what we were just doing. So can we drag and drop? I can't drag and drop it. I can drag this, but I can't. This is where I'm like, I don't feel like I'm... Select columns to change the header name and define a specific header width. Sorry, just reading again this. So select the column names and change the header name and define the column width. That's cool. So, It's on offline. Wonder why it's having so much issue. Okay. Well, it's gonna go. Okay, let's look at all accounts. Let's see if this one's any different. Can I drag? Nope. Can I rename? Nope. I think this has been there. I don't think I'm using the new one. And I don't know why that is. Yeah, this... Oh. Oh, I don't miss this at all. Like nostalgia, sure, but this is not the experience that I wanted. I love this experience. This is so much better. Accounts, more settings, display names, descriptions. Oh, beautiful, cool. Information about the account itself. Create, update settings, easy enough. Description, yada yada. This is just gonna blow my mind. What's gonna be hard is that things are gonna be hidden in there. I like these question marks. I like that. If it worked. Oh, there it goes. That's cool. That is that's so much better than the current experience. Being able to hover, see some information, and if I need to learn more, jump out there directly to the article. And well done, Microsoft. Well done. Most of these other things I think are things that people have seen before. So here are the forms. If I want to look at the account form, hopefully this is in the new editor. And again, this is going through the PowerApps. You notice here that it's now bouncing me back over to the CRM or the model-driven solution type of thing. See how long this takes to open. What can I do to open those in Excel? Huh. That just gave me a new Office add-in. Sure. I will trust Microsoft with everything. I feel like we need to save this for another time. I want to get back to this because this is like the Excel add-in and it's going to update the data. What I thought was interesting there is that I anticipated it downloading like these. What it ended up doing is opening Excel is the data in that table. Which, I mean, is kind of cool. Export data, what does that do? Is that just going to be like an export of the file? Yeah, this is the old school one. Why is it still going to that? I need to work on that and figure that out, and maybe next time I'll highlight. Anyway, so hopefully you guys are learning. Hopefully this is somewhat entertaining around this, and seeing my excitement and then frustration and then confusion as well. I don't know how admins do it. I really don't. Somebody that's at an organization that is tasked with maintaining their stuff, I don't know how you do it. This is my job. I'm in the system and around the system, and my job is to focus in on the system and what Microsoft's doing. And I have a hard time keeping up. I mean, I spend, the time here today actually in the system, playing around with the system, following them, Twitter and podcasts and stuff like that, and people that are focused in on this. And I don't have time to keep up with all this stuff. And it's something that I think is going to be very interesting. And I'll get on kind of a mini platform real quick as we're going through this, and it's loading. I guess it just went and downloaded. But how do you keep up with this? And like, what happens to, there's two different people that I'm concerned about with this. One is partners. Oh, I guess it's because it was in there, but one is partners, and what that looks like. So if you guys have comments, if you're just joining us, go ahead and say hey in the chat. But one of the things that as a partner, you have to you can't do everything. And I think people have talked about this for, I don't know how long, a couple of months at least, kind of ever since the new Power Platform came out, is that you can't know everything anymore. You used to be able to say, yeah, I know Dynamics CRM and I can be a jack of all trades, and you can't do that. It's coming out so quickly and so fast that you have to start focusing on things. Hey Gus. But I need to touch base with you on something, and I just want to use my hands real quick to communicate a thought and concept with you. But anyways, when it comes to how partners need to be able to interact and to be able to connect, and what it looks like for a team, you can't have a sort of this one-man shop. And it's been interesting seeing all these different mid-size organizations get bought up. And so if you're a one-man shop now, you have to be able to do something really well. And whether that's training, or whether it's Salesforce automation, or whether it's any number of different sort of specific areas, it's important to know that, and to know what you're good at. It now becomes so much more important to focus in on an industry as well. But when it gets to the partners that are trying to do Azure and Salesforce automation, and then AI and all this other stuff, I mean, that needs to be one person needs to focus in on just that one thing. And how do you make your stuff better and more, not just necessarily streamlined, but how do you go ahead and go through and make sure that your AI is actually picking up the right things and is learning the right stuff? And that's a whole skill set. And that's kind of the data scientist, and it's coming in and democratizing some of that information and bringing it in, which is cool to see, but it's a huge thing. And so the other thing that when it comes into, so that's just partners. And so partners can kind of do that. And again, I was just talking about how all these different sort of medium-sized 100 to 200 plus people, organizations were getting picked up. And you see the big four accounting firms starting to pick up a large Dynamics practices. So KPMG picked up Adoxio, E&Y picked up somebody, and I think PwC as well as PwC, and who's the other one? E&Y, Deloitte was the other one. Anyways, you see these other organizations, and they're not picking them up to be CRM specialists. What they're doing is they're picking up these people that know these products for exactly that. So how do I extend this as a platform, as a business application? It's no longer, hey, we're going to do Salesforce automation or case management. We're going to do things that people are now integrating with IoT. They're integrating with machine learning, and it just happens that the backbone was CRM, and everything's changing. Bottom line, everything's changing, and it goes beyond just sort of this XRM concept as well. Is that it's no longer, it's a relational database maybe in the back end for some things, and some people need it for a Rolodex, and that's kind of the evolution. It was a Rolodex, and now it's becoming a relational database, and now what it's becoming is so much more. It's an operational type of thing. And so no longer is it a Rolodex that just keeps track of your contacts or something like that and your opportunities. Now it's becoming, how do you do predictive and prescriptive analytics on that data? And so it's no longer just a Rolodex, it's going that next level. So I'm very excited to see that. It makes me nervous as somebody that's in this space and has been in this space, because everything I've known for the last 8 years is changing. And I don't think people realize that. And you hear people like Steve Merdue talk about this a lot, where things are changing, and partners that don't change with it and don't realize that change are going to be left behind. And there's still going to be spaces for organizations to leverage that kind of stuff, and people will still be able to make a living off of that. But as a partner, it makes me a little nervous to see what's going on, and the speed that Microsoft's pushing stuff out there, and how your organization has to adapt to it. And that's on the partner side. As a customer, as an end user, not even as an end user, but as a system administrator, it's going to be nuts. I don't know how you keep up with this stuff. I don't know where this goes and how you keep up with it, because there's so much that's going to be going on as part of it. So anyways, mini soapbox-ish done. As we're going through this next portion, and Gus, I don't know if you've gone through it and seen how to turn on. What we're going through is trying to figure out how to, so apparently you're supposed to be able to, within a view, be able to create a new field. And so we'd gone through and turned on the preview for all these different things, but it looks like it wasn't allowing us to create a new field. So if you got insight onto that, Gus, go ahead and drop it down in the link below. The other thing, Gus, that I was going to touch on and mention, I mentioned this at the beginning of the stream, and I don't think you were on yet, is I don't know if you want to do like a Wolverine Deadpool kind of feud. And so I will connect with you offline if you want to do that. So if you say unmanaged solutions are the best, I'm going to take the opposing, and I'm just going to troll you and say managed solutions. If you say that this is the best practice, I'm going to say, dude, that's the worst practice, and troll you that way. So maybe I won't say it's the worst, because again, but anyways, I think you have fun with that. So tune in to the Dynamics 365 news fix to stay up to date with all the new stuff. Yeah, so I highlighted that before. So you're getting in a little late. But yeah, so went ahead and highlighted that. And guess the other thing I would encourage you to do is drop some links down here in here. CRM MVP Pod Media. So for the different areas. So, and also there's not a good place that I can stop this. Oh, there's your. I was trying to find that slide. It's hard to like
news fix.
Go through that. So anyways, yeah, so I'm going to drop that down in the description down below after the content, after the stream today. So, cool. Okay, so that's a little bit about the PowerApps area. I think we're going to go ahead and close that. I don't know why that environment wasn't coming back up when we were trying to access the entities on here. Exported the file. Yep, I know. Yeah, it's not loading for whatever reason, so we'll try to troubleshoot that later. Cool. So we looked at the apps. This is the app that we created earlier today. It looks like if you use the views here and create a new one, it still does this app experience versus the classic app experience versus the new PowerApps experience. So lots of different places that you can go in there and check out. So that's kind of cool. You can search the canvas and find different components on it. That's all. If you've been around this apps before, it's cool. And I think those, which is good. I'm trying to think what other things we were going through the notes and see what else we wanted to highlight. View results of formulas and subformulas in the Canvas app. So again, this is a Canvas app, which is more that PowerPoint concept, and so it looks like you can go ahead and preview the formulas or view the formulas and subformulas in the Canvas app. Interesting. We'll have to do that one at another time. Improve your inline help for makers and admins. Oh, this is what we were just talking about. Um, I think this is looking more at the Canvas apps. Guided help with PowerApp Studio. So just the whole studio, PowerApp Admin, and Microsoft Flow. So again, that's all the different things when we're in the app itself, or in the, okay, come on. In the view designer. And so when we looked at that, having those additional, oh no, it wasn't there. Where was it? It was on the entity itself. So when we look at the default, where did it go? Settings. And then when we looked at those, those different like collaborates, what does this mean? Allow feedback. And so being able to click on there, look for learn more, was really cool. And guys, I don't know if you've checked it out or had an opportunity to play around with it yet, but have you checked out these views yet? In creating a view in here, this was something I hadn't done until today. And so being able to like sort by multiple columns and then order them. And so being able to go through main, phone number, city. And so you can add all of these. So if you wanted to sort by all the columns in the system or in the view, you could. I think there's one that's missing. It's the email. Looks like it's missing. I'm not sure why I guess it's all, no, these are all different. But anyways, that's cool. And then hopefully they bring the drag and drop capability, which would be cool. And then being able to filter here is really cool. So if I look at the, I think rating, it's all default, but being able to add a filter sort of directly in line here and see what that will look like. So if I wanted to filter by and do Redmond, you can go ahead and do that and it's going to show you there. And so that's going to add it to my filter column list, and you can edit filters and see all the different stuff. I want to maybe go ahead and group those together and add a grouping. Interesting that I can't just select them. Can I do that? And then I'll make a group with the ones I selected. Yeah. And then being able to ungroup them is another huge thing. So, you know, have to like go back and forth between the two. So that's been cool. The other thing we were trying to figure out is how to add a new field, and I don't think we can do that. So again, I feel like for some reason this app environment hasn't been upgraded, which I feel like is weird. So okay, cool. So we're gonna go ahead and cancel and leave that. Business rules, views, settings, export data, get data. Can add a field, but that's no surprise there. Data types, I kind of like this. This is a good sort of breakdown of how things are broken up. Is this a text? Being able to do a text area, ticker symbol, and all that kind of stuff. And so again, it's no longer, if you remember the old school days, you'd have to like select the field, type, and then under that, what essentially is a subtype. And so here instead you can jump directly to what it's going to be and some of the validation that's going to come along with it. Calculate and roll up, that's cool to be able to come in. Is it required or not? And then what's my advanced options? More of the same that you would normally expect to see. So what other things are in the release preview that came out yesterday, like we were talking about? Embedding Canvas apps and model-driven apps, generally available. That's going to be cool. With responsive layout, this is cool. I don't think we covered this last week around this, but being able to create a Canvas app and that concept of, I'm not just like rereading this, but a responsive layout is that concept of when I create a web page, based on the size of it, it's going to respond accordingly. So you see here that like different components have either come in or been hidden based on responding to the size of the screen, which allows, and this is where it goes crazy, is now I can build it once and deploy it everywhere. And so it'll be interesting to see if they go into the concept of being able to build a Canvas app that goes ahead and directly gets, you can do it on your tablet, you can do it on your web browser, because right now I think if you do a new app, Canvas app, you have to pick, or maybe this has gone away now with the update. So if I wanted to create, yeah, so phone layout for all of these, or do you want to use a tablet layout? And so if you start with one of those, then you're going to go that direction. But now that it's a responsive one, that may not be the case. And so removing sort of that limitation or that hurdle, I think will be really cool. I haven't used this one. Do you have to like select something? Why isn't? Oh, you have to connect it to something. So anyways, we'll go through a Canvas app another time. But anyways, that's going to be cool, the responsive app. And I saw some people post on Twitter about that. Just being able to drag and resize it, which is going to be really cool, and make it easier for everybody. We talked about many relationships last time. Compose and reuse rich components. I think we touched on that already. Cool. So that's some of the stuff that, again, is PowerApps driven. And if you talk to, I think is Juka, I think is how you say his name, is like start with the PowerApps and then work your way backwards. End user platforms for admins. Test and update first in preview. Sign up easily to get early access to the updates across. Yeah, right? It was hard to like be a part of the preview program, and now you can opt in, which is really cool. Develop and validate the apps on a regular basis prior to the next update. A way to develop and test new updates on the platform before they are rolled out broadly, right? We touched on that already. Customers can create a preview environment in the US, or they can copy an existing environment over to preview from the Power Platform admin. Interesting. I don't think we did that. Like we can create a new environment, but I don't know if we could create one that's a preview. We named it preview, but that wasn't what it was. So supportability for admins, new support request right there. So anyways, hearing the little bacon bite in the background. And so we're going to go ahead and wrap it up there. I think the other thing is if you guys have areas that you wanted to see, you're wanting to go through, reach out and we'll try to cover them next week. Next week may be a little different. We'll have family in town again. And so considering it's actually my brother, David Bacon, or I think it's Njord Giant on Twitter. Anyways, he's going to be out here for some work stuff, and then he's going to be out here for the weekend. And so may include him on next week's live stream with Bacon and Business Apps. So anyways, as a quick recap, definitely check out the previews, start playing around with them. There's just 4 or 5 different places where there's like an admin center-ish. Just understand that there's different places to go in each of them. If you want to enable the new previews, you have to go to admin.powerplatform.microsoft.com, go to Contoso, and then you'll have manage, and you can go ahead and click on update it. And that's how you do that. The other thing we went through and worked on was the views and being able to play around with the views, creating an app, seeing how that view experience is, and then also going through and viewing the PowerApps view. So I need to do a little more work. I'll try to do it this week. Hopefully, we'll see what happens with regards to testing it out. So the other thing I would encourage you all to do is, like I said, check out CRM MVP Media, who's made a few comments, and then also it's Gus Gonzalez. But he has been doing the news stuff, and so would encourage you guys to follow that if you're an administrator, to understand just that quick recap of what's happened over the last month, and then what you're able to go ahead and continue to learn on. So there's opportunity there. So as always, appreciate everybody joining in, whether you watch this live. Thank you for joining us here on a Saturday, and hopefully again you stayed warm, and if you joined us after the fact. Make sure you comment down below and we'll get to those comments. If you like the material, go ahead and hit the thumbs up and let us know you enjoyed it. If there's opportunities for improvement, go ahead and either reach out to me on Twitter or go ahead and reach out and put a comment down below as well. As always, take care of yourselves. Make sure you hit the subscribe and that little notification icon so that way you guys know when we are live. So I look forward to talking to you guys next time, and have a great weekend. Thanks all.